Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl here with this week's Astro Weather Report for the week of the 22nd of January through to the 29th of January. Thanks so much for joining me. I just want to remind everyone that if you would like a reading to understand how all these energies that I'm speaking of today are going to play out in your personal chart, you can do so through popping over to my website www.guidingstar.astrology.com and ordering a reading there to suit your needs. If you've got any questions about the types of readings and what you'd like to find out about, then shoot me an email through my contacts page. But you can order a reading there, and that way you can understand how these energies that I'm going to speak of apply to you at a very personal level. You can also get products to help your astrological learning through my shop. You can also get products that help you to teach astrology if that's what you want to do through my shop. And if you would like to learn more about astrology, there are webinars available through my learning page. So just pop over there and pop back from time to time and see what new products are added as well. But thanks for joining me, and thanks for letting me share a little bit about my business. That's how I make money, and that's how I support my family while giving you this beautiful information about what's coming up in the astrological skies and teaching you astrology as we go. So what is occurring for us this week? Well, it is going to be another interesting week. Hasn't January been a doozy for us? The first month of the new decade has been one of, fascination, let's say that much. But we're looking now at what is occurring for us on January the 24th. We're going to have the moon making a crossing. Here's the moon up here making a crossing of the eclipse point, which was at 20 degrees of the sign of Capricorn and Cancer. So this eclipse point, well, actually the moon is going to be crossing both the points that were activated in the eclipse. The first eclipse that occurred back at the end of December, which happened at around 3 degrees of Capricorn, and then the recent eclipse that's occurred on the 10th of January, which occurred at the 20 degree mark of Capricorn Cancer. So the moon is going to be crossing these points as well as crossing the Pluto Saturn conjunction point on the 24th of January. And this is the big one we want to look at. So we can find that intense emotional experiences crop up for us now when this occurs, because the moon is our emotions, and this is the point, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. I'll grab my pointer. The Saturn-Pluto conjunction is where we find this intense karmic purging and releasing going on in our personal lives, as well as restructuring of who we are. And we can feel this at a very emotional level when the moon crosses this point and activates it. We can have the experiences we have at this time might very deeply imprint on our subconscious, a bit like branding iron. We can have experiences that really emotionally not scar us but impact us and hit us right where our heart is. We can have these triggers. We can have any karmic emotional baggage that now bubbles up through an emotional trigger as well. So maybe we were hurt in childhood in some way, and we have an experience around this time that brings that hurt to the surface for us to address and resolve and purge and release. The moon can activate that occurring for us around the 24th. Any overreactions that we might be inclined to will be activated at this time. So if seeing someone causes an overreactive trigger in you, an old ex, an old flame, or a boss that did you wrong, or something, you might come across a circumstance where these overreactions in you are triggered, and you're going to have to learn to control it and deal with it and navigate that. You might find that controlling behaviors might pop up at this time as well. You might be exerting a controlling influence on someone else, or they might be trying to subdue you and put you under the thumb. So be aware that that can happen. Be conscious about that. And when we have knowledge, we have power to control our actions more. Certainly, I'll give you an example. About a month ago, Lada did a wonderful video talking about the lower manifestation of Capricorn being the reptilian brain. And around that time, I had been having all these nasty thoughts about people that were doing, being real pains in the ass in my life. And I was like, maybe I could do this and that would get back at them. And it's just not like me at all. And I was like, where is this coming from? Usually I'm very kind and patient. I don't have these kind of lower level ideas and thoughts and feelings. And it was when Lada explained that, this is that Capricornian lower manifestation, reptilian energy. I was like, aha, now I know where that's coming from. So I want to just point out to you, you can have these feelings, these thoughts, these experiences that are, about overreaction, about wanting to control people and manipulate people, and those sorts of things might crop up in you. But if you've got the knowledge and you know where it's coming from, you can take a step back and observe and witness these feelings and say, right, that's not for me. I know where this is coming from. It's the energy of the moon moving over these points of the eclipse and its points of Saturn-Pluto conjunction. I'm letting that go. And you can actively choose because you know where it's coming from. You don't need to pay it any mind. You know it's just energy. Okay? Watch out because of controlling behaviors that emerge in relationships, but also toxic people can enter your life. As I said, people from the past might re-enter that you've then got to karmically deal with. Also, you might find that new toxic people enter your life and you've just got to put a block and say, no, I'm not dealing with you. I'm not having that energy in my life. So that can emerge. But, through therapy, Pluto is therapy, through, the acts of will, these Pluto energies, you can remove these people from your life. So if it's someone from the past, go and get therapy about it. Go and purge it. Write about it in a journal. Write them a letter, even if you never send it to them, but get it all out of your body into a letter. Do some dance therapy around that issue. Do some art therapy around that issue and get the energy of that toxic person out of your body and into something else, like a journal, like a piece of art, like whatever. And that will help you remove their imprint and their energy from your life. Take any action that you need to now with this moon crossing this point to address any emotional baggage and emotional concerns that come up for you. And what does the moon rule in your chart? We've got to ask, where does Cancer fall? And wherever Cancer falls is where this energy is likely to play out. I'll give you an example let's look at Aries. Aries here is Aries rising, and the moon rules the 4th house. So it might be with the mother that you might have some toxic energy coming up for you now. It might be something to do with home or the lineage that you have or community or the heritage you've received from your family, and you're like, oh, enough, I'm putting a stop to this toxicity. No more of this, no more of these emotional triggers from my family. I'm not taking that anymore, and I'm doing therapy around that to change it and using my active will to transform this. So that's just an example. You need to know where Cancer falls in your chart to deal with that. Then, so that's the 24th of January. Then on the 27th of January, Venus and Neptune will be conjuncting in the sky. That means they'll be meeting at the same point, roughly 16 degrees. This happens once a year, roughly, give or take, but unless Venus is retrograding, it might work out to be a little longer than a year. But roughly annually we get a conjunction of Venus and Neptune, and it's beautiful. It means that it's a time for more romance in our lives. Neptune is this higher octave, this higher manifestation of Venusian energy, of love. And Neptune is unconditional love, divine love. It is trust in the goodness of the universe. And it's a very beautiful energy combined with a highly romantic energy combined with the energy of relationships and love and beauty that is Venus. So there's a potential for romance. There's also an energy of more compassion in the ether. And don't we all need that? We need to give it and we need to receive it. So that is a beautiful energy to be present on this day, the 27th of January. We can also feel a little bit lazy, maybe a bit dreamy, maybe a bit la-di-da, off reading our novels, lost in escapism and being very happy there, thank you very much, especially as this is happening in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is to be dreamy, it is to be romantic, it is to be creative, it is to be lost in daydreams and imaginings. But I just want to encourage everyone to go there, especially on this day, because our imaginings, our mind is more powerful than we actually give it credit to be. And it's through our imaginings and our daydreams that we have a great deal of power to manifest. And a lot of us don't realize this. As a child, you probably, may have daydreamed a lot and be told off for staring out the window at school when you should be doing your maths. That kind of thing might have happened. It certainly happened to me a lot. But it's daydreams that give us a sense of hope, a sense of buoyancy, a sense of direction. And we tend to lose that in our adult lives. We don't have time for daydreaming, for staring out the window and just getting lost in our thoughts. I want to encourage you to take time to do that on this day. And do it more often than that if possible. Do it as often as you can, because our imaginations, our mind, our dreams, our hopes, not the sort of, I'm imagining getting back at that person like in Psycho or anything like that, but we are imagining the beautiful things, the good things, the things we want to achieve, the places we want to go, who we want to be. Those sorts of daydreams can be very empowering to take us the next step. The more we daydream, the more we get in touch with what our soul wants, what our higher self is asking of us, if we tap in and tune in to our imaginings and our daydreams. So do so often, but particularly on this day, because you will be able to really understand what the beauty in life that you seek, the love that you seek, what you want your life to look like in a material sense, when we have the connection of Venus, a very material planet, connecting with this ethereal planet of Neptune. So I'd also encourage you on this day, surround yourself with anything beautiful, any indulgent expressions of love for self, love for others, indulgent escapism, day spas, nail salons, going and, having a swim at the pool or the lake, or just getting away from everything if you can. And this will channel the highest level of this energy. Beautiful escapism, pleasant indulgence, and just love for others, compassion for self, compassion for others. Channeling that energy is going to really bring the highest manifestation of this beautiful ethereal love seen by Neptune and Venus into your life personally. You'll sow seeds of it in your own life as you give it out to others as well. So we're going to explore both of these energies now as we go through all signs. We're going to be looking at, firstly, where is Cancer? Where are we feeling this intensity on the 24th of January? Where can we expect that we might have some overreactions? And then we're going to jump into something a bit more positive and look at the Venus-Neptune conjunction. Where does that fall? Where are we going to be feeling more dreamy and indulgent? How can we surround ourselves with this energy of beauty and escapism? Let's start with Aries, because the arrow is there. Well, Cancer happens to fall in your 4th house. So this is where you might, as I said, be feeling some intense feelings regarding your mother, or your relationship with your mother, or your maternal line, or your parents in general, or the nurturing parent that you had, or the nurturing person in your life. It might have been a grandmother, it might have been an aunt, it might have been a teacher at school or something who was the very nurturing component of your early childhood. So there might be some intense feelings there, some hurts that bubble to the surface, maybe some feelings of overreacting to something that happens with family, with your maternal line or the nurturing person in your life. Maybe you'll have some overreactions regarding community involvement. Maybe you've done something really, you've gone out of your way and made some effort in the community, and none of it's been appreciated. And, in fact, you felt criticized because of the effort that you made. And you might just blow up and explode because of that, So that's just one crazy example, but it's in the realm of community, heritage, where you come from, your roots, your lineage and family, that we can feel a sense of overreaction. Now, this is likely to be very strong in Aries people, because the moon rules Cancer, yes, but the Cancer in your chart, Aries, is in this sign of our deepest emotions. The most hidden realm of the chart is the 4th house, the most hidden, the deepest realm. And so our deep emotions are here, our intense emotional experiences and thoughts and feelings that we kind of hide away from others are here. And so you might be activated in this realm quite strongly when the moon crosses these trigger points around the 24th, give or take a day. And so just a word of warning about that. Watch out for your intense feelings and your emotional reactions in this realm. Now, where is Venus and Neptune? Well, it falls in your 4th house, in your 12th house. So it's here that you'll be feeling extra dreamy and extra indulgent. This is to escape. I mean, you guys more than any other sign are going to have this need to enjoy some kind of escapism right now. And in Pisces, it could be, going to the beach, or escaping to the lake for a day and just swimming in the water, or you might like to escape through a trip overseas. I mean, this is only going to last a day or two, but maybe you've got the chance to go to some other country. Maybe you live in England and you take a weekend trip to Portugal or something and have an escapist retreat and get away from it all through that. So Aries rising people, you're going to be able to truly escape and tap into another realm in that holiday sense, in that day spa sense, in the spiritual sense as well. You might have a chance to go to a yoga retreat or an ashram or something, and this could be very beautiful and fulfilling for you during this time. This is the realm that you can actually indulge in. This is the realm you can surround yourself with beauty in, spiritual beauty, creative beauty, escapist beauty. Enjoy it. And it's also very romantic. Pisces is a hugely romantic sign, and here it is in the 12th house. So you might have, it's a house of what we term sexual pleasure. And so you might be able to indulge in some romantic sexual pleasure at this time as well as a form of escape. I mean, what a beautiful escape that is. So enjoy it, lap it up, and revel in that. Try and create those circumstances for yourself, and you'll be channeling the beautiful energy of this union. Okay, Taurus rising people. Well, firstly, Cancer, if you're Taurus rising, happens to be your 3rd house. And so Cancer, ruled by the moon, is getting activated now, and this means that intense feelings and overreactions can pop up in maybe your small business, or maybe with your teachers or siblings. This is the house where we're getting taught. We're learning. So through having to learn something, having to read something, we might get a triggering. Our emotions might be switched on, and we might read something that absolutely brings up some old bubbling karmic wound that we need to address. So in fields of learning, maybe a teacher says something that sets us off, or maybe a sibling is also seen by the 3rd house, says something, sets us off, or does something, and we're reminded of some old childhood wound that we had that needs to be addressed, and we get intense feelings about it, and we overreact. And so 3rd house energies, siblings, relatives, wherever we're learning, whatever we're reading, our communications. 3rd house, as I said, is also small business, so it might be some sort of interaction that occurs in the nature of your small business that causes this intensity, these feelings of overreaction and so forth. So watch out for that. Knowledge is power. You'll know how to deal with it if it does crop up for you. Now, Venus and Neptune for Taurus rising people falls in the 11th house, so you might like to get away with friends. You might like to have some escapist retreat with some friends, organize with a few friends to go away on to a luxury resort or something like that. Or you might get the chance to get your girlfriends together and go to the day spa for a foot pampering session one afternoon or something like that. But 11th house is about connecting with others. It's a very social house. So in your escaping, in your creating romance for your life and surrounding yourself with beauty, in your being indulgent, in your being dreamy, do it with others, do it with friends. Get your circle of friends together and enjoy this beautiful, romantic, lovely energy of Venus with Neptune that happens once a year. So indulge with friends, pamper yourself with friends, and it will be so much fun. Gemini rising, bang, my old clunky board. Gemini rising, well, Cancer falls in your 2nd house, so it's here that you might have some overreactions and some very intense feelings. For Gemini rising people, it could be through a monetary situation that you are just triggered, and you're reminded of some wound that you have, or there's some sort of childhood karmic experience that bubbles up in you through maybe the loss of some money, or being dealt a dodgy blow or something like that, or somebody manipulates you, or maybe there's some control that's happening in your life. Somebody's trying to control you and control your money, and you just get frustrated, and then these intense feelings bubble up and these overreactions bubble up, and you become very verbal and angry and aggressive and frustrated. So it's over financial matters and material goods that you can find this triggering occurs, or if someone attacks your personal integrity or your personal self-worth in some way. Maybe you've always felt rejected, in life, and somebody triggers that feeling of rejection in you, and that causes an overreaction. It's devastating and hurtful, and that can happen when we have this occurring in the sky. So watch out. You'll know where it's coming from and why it's happening, and so when it happens, you can do what you need to get back in balance again. Maybe do a bit of self-love, maybe do a bit of personal care, or get your money and finances back in order again. Just watch out for these intense feelings and these overreactions from these triggers in life. Now we need to also look at where Venus and Neptune are falling, and they're falling for you in the 10th house. So it is with maybe with your boss. You might like to go and have an enjoyable lunch one day, and create not a feeling of romance with your boss unless you're that way inclined, but more of a feeling of camaraderie and pleasure with some authority figure in your life. Now maybe it's your father, and maybe you're like, I need to reach out and connect with my dad. The father figures are seen by the 10th house, so maybe you could go and connect with your father if you have the opportunity to do that, and create a sense of happiness, of pleasure, and of joy that you experience with a father figure. It could also be in your career, when Neptune and Venus join in the sky in Pisces, that you get a bit dreamy, and you can indulge in your own imaginations about where you want to take your career, what do you want it to look like, who you want to be. And through these imaginings, through these daydreamings, you can actually begin to start manifesting in reality what you want, because thoughts are powerful, but you've got to start with a dream first, and then everything else follows on from that dream. So go there, allow yourself to daydream, allow yourself to be a bit indulgent in terms of your imagination regarding your career, and surround yourself with beauty in your career right now. So maybe you work in a high profile position in a corporate company or something like that, if you're Gemini rising, and you might like to bring in a bunch of flowers, or bring in a beautiful photograph of somebody you love and put them on your desk, and just create this feeling of beauty and of love at work in your career. Or do something loving and beautiful through your career. I mean, my career, I'm not Gemini, but my career is to do videos. Maybe I do something very beautiful and loving and giving, very charitable through my videos that I produce, or through, let's say you write a column for a paper or a magazine or something, or an online journal, and you write a column on love, on kindness, on compassion, on charity, and you direct your energy in that way with regard to the career undertakings that you have. So that's Gemini. Now Cancer rising people, we're going to see, well, obviously the moon, which is crossing these trigger points in Capricorn. It's going to be activating your first house, because the moon rules your first house. So you might find that your ability to assert yourself is a bit frustrated at this time in some way, and that causes intense feelings and overreactions in you. Maybe you want to go for a holiday in a certain place, and everyone in the family says no, we're not going, and you feel frustrated because your ability to assert yourself and direct your life is being thwarted by others. And so that can be frustrating, and you can overreact to that. Or maybe your bodily health has not been what you wanted it to be, and you just haven't had time to exercise or get the new clothes that you wanted, or whatever, to affect your image, because first house is image. And there can be frustrations there. You can be just feel these intense feelings of, why can I never find a pair of jeans that fits me, and how come I haven't had time to go shopping for the new blouse that I need for work, and just feelings of frustration about your image and about your body and your ability to look after it and survive and thrive. All of these realms can be where you feel a sense of frustration now. So you've got to watch out for these bubblings up of overreactions to things that occur in those realms, and intense feelings that crop up. When they do crop up, you'll know where they're coming from. They're coming from the astrological realm. So be kind to yourself and know, knowledge is power. I know where this is coming from and why this is. Now, the next piece we need to look for is, where is the conjunction of Venus and Neptune falling? And it's falling in the 9th house, a very blessed and lucky house for you guys. So you can create this dreaminess, this romantic vibe, this charitable energy in the house of mentors, inspirational figures, belief systems, higher learning, and travel. So it's a really good energy when Neptune and Venus connect to maybe look at taking a trip around this time. This is the 27th of January for going, to some other culture. Maybe you live in Germany and you decide, you know what, I think I might take a trip this weekend to go to Belgium. And I'm going to go to Belgium and I'm going to enjoy their beautiful chocolate and I'm going to, whatever. You decide you're going to go and immerse yourself in another culture and you set it all up to have a bit of escape time. Pisces is escape, and when these two beautiful planets combine, it's about enjoying yourself, indulging in a bit of pleasure and luxury and fun. You can create a dreamy environment, a dreamy kind of life, perhaps not life is not the right word, but a dreamy experience that has to do with experiencing another culture. So maybe you decide you're going to go and walk the Champs-Élysées, is it? I can't pronounce. My French is appalling. But down the main drag, if you want to call it that, in Paris. And you go and I'm going to pretend that I am, living here in the 1920s and, hobnobbing with Ernest Hemingway and F. Scott Fitzgerald and Josephine Baker, and I'm going to just immerse myself in this dreamy kind of life, and I'm just going to escape into some other cultural situation, because Neptune is to be dreamy, Venus is to have pleasure here in the sign of Pisces, which is all about escape, and in the house of the 9th house, which is other cultures. So you might like to actually indulge in something like that at this time. You would find a lot of pleasure and a lot of joy in allowing your imagination to run wild in that sense. Go and imagine, being Robert Redford and Meryl Streep in Out of Africa or whatever. Indulge in cultural immersion that is of a very dreamy and ethereal kind of nature wherever you get the opportunity to do so. So that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm actually wishing that I was Cancer rising to be able to go do that. So good fun for you guys. Surround yourself with beauty, have an escape, and make it cultural, you guys, and you can really indulge and enjoy that pleasure. For Leo rising, well, you guys, the moon, which is crossing all these trigger points in Capricorn, the moon rules Cancer, your 12th house. So this is where you can be feeling or generating these intense experiences, these intense feelings. And now this has been getting a lot of activation with you over the last couple of weeks, Leo people. So it's karmic stuff, once again, that can be causing triggers for you right now. But also, you might have a karmic interaction with someone who comes into your life and you're like, where has this person come from? I feel like I've known them forever, and they just trigger something in you that's hurtful, that's painful, that's antagonistic, and you just don't know where that's coming from. Well, the moon crossing these points is bringing out karma in you. Karmic interactions with people you've known in other lifetimes, people that you have come across before who've hurt you and who've wounded you, and now you need to resolve these things. So when you experience intense feelings about someone, when you experience some sort of overreaction with a person, know that it's likely to be coming from a karmic experience and a karmic point, and just allow it to be there. Allow it to flow through you. You don't have to go deep diving into the feeling and getting caught up in, I'm going to get revenge on them, or I hate them, or whatever. Allow any difficult karmic energies to sit there, observe it, acknowledge that it's there, and let it go. Direct your attention elsewhere, because you will be feeling some intense emotions at this time, some overreactive feelings that you're thinking, what the hell, where is that coming from? And by being kind to yourself, acknowledging that it's most likely a karmic thing that's being triggered in you, you will be able to navigate this with more lightness and more ease. Now, the next energy we want to take a peek at is the Venus-Neptune conjunction, which happens to be falling in your 8th house. So Leo, this can be very beautiful for you, actually. 8th house we often think of as a very difficult house and a challenging house, but this is a beautiful energy. The Lord of Pisces sitting here with Venus in its exaltation, such a beautiful, beautiful energy. So you can escape into some mystic realm at the moment. You might like to go on some sort of shamanic retreat for a weekend and, just get really close to nature, close to the rhythmic cycles of the earth, understanding the stars. I mean, for those of us who are passionate astrology lovers, getting involved in shamanic astrology might be a beautiful thing to do at this time. There's a romance there, and there's a beauty there in connecting with ancient cultures and their perception and vision of the stars and their relationship with the heavens. This can be very, very beautiful. And you guys, Leo rising, can really enjoy this more than most at this time. There's this beautiful capacity to be a bit dreamy, a bit indulgent, a bit imaginative with shamanic practice and with the sort of the connection to other energetic realms. So you might find this is the house that rules the chakras. You might like to indulge in a bit of chakra clearing or energy healing work at this time. That can be a very beautiful thing to do. This is also the house of sex and intimate relationships. So it is a very beautiful time for you Leo people to get romantic and get jiggy with it with someone that you love and that are intimate with, if you are privileged enough to have that in your life. Celebrate that, enjoy that, create romance in an intimate setting. Get those candles out, run that bubble bath, do those special things that create a sense of union and intimacy in a passionate and beautiful way. You are so beautifully supported with that, you beautiful Leo people, right now, with Neptune conjunct Venus. Neptune is unconditional love, Venus is love and beauty, Pisces is romance, and falling in the 8th house of sex and intimacy. So you guys make the most of this. This is a precious, beautiful energy to enjoy and indulge in. I do apologize for my children in the background. They're on school holidays, and so we're coming to the end of it, thank goodness. It's been fun, don't get me wrong. So Virgo rising people, well, hello, we've got Cancer is your 11th house, and the moon currently is crossing all these trigger points that have been activated in the last month down in Capricorn, and so we are getting our Cancer energy turned on and amplified, but usually through some sort of intense feelings and maybe some overreaction. So you want to watch your friendships if you happen to be Virgo rising, because it's in the friendship realms that you might overreact to something and destroy the friendship, or you might get some intense feelings towards a friend or about a friendship or about a social group that might cause some detriment, that might cause some trouble. Knowing that you're going to have intense feelings about friendships and about your friends and so on will give you the knowledge to navigate this period with more ease. If you're feeling, daggers towards somebody who's upset you and you're like, where's this energy coming from? Well, you'll know. It's the triggering of the moon with these karmic, very powerful points in Capricorn that's bringing this on. And you'll be able to say, I know what this is. You can step back. You can choose not to take action. You can allow the energy and the feeling to be there. Write it out in your journal or deal with it in some other way that allows you to move on and not be, reactive to this energy. So observing, detaching is a very, very important skill to have at this time. So Virgo rising people, watch out for these intense feelings around your friendships and social groups that could cause some detriment, and navigate that with a bit of maturity. But the good news is that you guys have the energy of Neptune and Venus in Pisces connecting in your 7th house. So it's with your partners that you can create a lot of romance now, a lot of buoyant love and loving experiences and romantic tete-a-tetes. It's a beautiful energy, this energy. You can get dreamy, you can surround yourself with indulgence and beauty and escape with a partner. Now, if you're not in a committed relationship, and many of us are not, if you're not in a committed relationship, then you can do it with any other significant other. I'm not saying do it, but do the romantic thing, do the indulgent thing. Like, you might have a best girlfriend and you might say, blow this Cancer intense feeling energy. Let's go away together and have a great girls' weekend away. And we're going to go skiing at Aspen, or we're going to go and see the Niagara Falls in the snow, or do something beautiful, indulgent, pleasurable. Have fun with a significant other, be that a friend, be it a client, be it part of your audience, be it a business partner, doesn't matter. Somebody. This house represents other people. all other people in our life. Now, particular other people it's strong for, like marriage partners, like business partners, but this is the house of us and this is the house of other. Simple as that. Other people are seen from the 7th house. So connect with another person and go and enjoy some beautiful, indulgent, pleasurable, happy times. So indulge in your dreams, your romantic dreams right now, Virgo rising people, because Pisces is this romantic energy in your 7th house, and all this activation here in Pisces is going to trigger for you the capacity to tap into your romanticism, your romantic nature, your dreamy nature, your imagination. And remember, thoughts are powerful. Thoughts create our future. What we think about is what we end up creating. So take the time to daydream. Take the time to go into fantasy land and imagine your future. Imagine what you can achieve. Imagine what love can look like. All of us like to do that, whether we're in a relationship or not. Daydream and imagine about what you want the relationship to be, and then work towards fulfilling that. It's a beautiful energy that we can indulge in and enjoy at this time. Get out there, have fun, be romantic with another person, and enjoy, candlelit dinners or skiing at Aspen or whatever happens to float your boat in terms of a beautiful, joyful, romantic experience. If we're Libra rising, well, the moon is crossing through Capricorn down here, and the moon rules Cancer, your 10th house. So it is all this karmic activation that's now occurring in Capricorn that's going to be felt in the realm of your career, because the moon getting this karmic activation rules Cancer. Now, what this means is you're going to have some very intense feelings, maybe even some overreactions, and a reactive nature will come out, and it'll display in the house of career. So it might be with a boss. The boss just pushes you just that bit too far and you lose your shit. And then you're like, oh, why did I lose it? Why have I overreacted there? I'm so embarrassed, Or you might have a really intense feelings about a project that you're working on, and you might just get so frustrated with the project, and maybe you're working on a new dress design because you're a fashion designer or something, and it's just not working, and you just throw the dress across the other side of the room in frustration. Silly example, but this is the kind of thing. We can be frustrated, we can have intense feelings and overreactions regarding something to do with our career, or some project we're working on, some interaction with an authority figure or a boss type person, or even a father figure. So watch out for that. Once you know that this is what's occurring and where it's coming from, then you have power to just observe, to step back and say, aha, I know what this is. I know this is the energy of the moon, which rules Cancer, being triggered by all this karma. I'm just going to let it go, and I'm going to act with a bit more caution now. So knowledge is power. Watch out for career if you're Libra rising. The other energy we want to look at is this energy, Pisces and Neptune, a beautiful conjunction occurring in your 6th house. So you can feel very romantic, very dreamy in your everyday life. You might like to indulge in some sort of beautiful dinner. Food is seen by the 2nd house, but cooking is seen by the 6th house. So you might like to cook yourself a beautiful dinner that you can enjoy with a friend or with, by yourself. It doesn't matter, but doing something practical that creates a romantic, indulgent, delightful experience for you. Cooking something lovely, or decorating, your home in a very romantic way, or you're doing something in your daily life to make it a bit more sparkly, a bit more special, a bit more loving and indulgent and pleasurable. Is going to be very much something you can do that will lift you up and buoy you up on this day. So, like I said, daily routine might be you might include some sort of injection of delight and love into your daily routine. I used to have this glorious Royal Albert dinner set that I was given, and it sat in the cupboard, and I never used it. Just sat there because it's too good for every day. And then it dawned on me one day, you know what a waste to have this beautiful dinner set that just sits there and takes up space and gathers dust. I'm going to start using it. And I started using it on a regular daily basis, because why not enjoy pleasure and beauty and indulgence more regularly? And so that's something you might like to actually consider. In what ways can I make my daily routine more pleasurable, more beautiful, more indulgent, more dreamy and romantic? So you would definitely, if you're Libra rising, be looking at ways that you can impart that into your everyday life when Neptune and Venus make a conjunction on the 27th of January. Scorpio rising people are going to have the moon crossing through Capricorn in their 3rd house, and the moon happens to rule Cancer, their 9th house. The moon is crossing all these karmic trigger points that have been activated over the last month, and so we're getting an activation of our emotional energy in a very karmic sense. So we need to look at what the moon is governing in our chart. Aside from the usual things the moon governs, like emotions, home, mother, we're looking at what Cancer rules personally for you. And if you're Scorpio rising, Cancer rules the 9th house. This is the realm where you might be getting some intense feelings right now, some karmic bubbling up of old attitudes, old beliefs, some overreactions to things. So it's the house of religion. There might be an issue that crops up. Let's say you read about some pedophile priest or something like that, and the reaction that you have is just you just feel sick, you want to vomit, you're so angry, the feelings are so intense, you have an overreaction, you jump on Facebook and have a massive big rant about this particular priest that needs to go to jail and blah blah blah. This energy of the moon of Cancer can really be getting triggered when the moon is crossing all these activation points from the eclipses and from Saturn conjunct Pluto right now. So watch out for that. Knowledge is power. If you feel this intensity about some belief or some religion or some cultural practice that gives you the shits, then know where it's coming from, and then you can perhaps mitigate it, observe it, analyze it, and not sort of lose your shit about it. Knowledge is power. When we know where we're getting activated, when we know where we're getting triggered, then we can make better decisions and better choices about what we do. So not that there's anything wrong with jumping online and having a good rant, let me say, but you might like to think twice before you take action on things. And so this is the realm that you'll be getting triggered by. It's, like I said, beliefs, cultural practices, maybe some sort of inspirational figure who didn't turn out to be so inspiring after all, and maybe was a bit of a deviant or something. These kind of things can activate and trigger your emotional reaction. Just know it may be very karmic. Maybe you were burned at the stake in a past life. If you're Scorpio rising, highly likely that might have been the case. You burned at the stake for practicing herbalism or something. And, the religious figures trigger you now, and it's probably a karmic reaction that needs to bubble up in you and be purged and be dealt with. So observe it, write about it, do therapy around it, honor it, but don't let it lead you into action that you regret. So that's the nature of Cancer being triggered over the course of this week. But also we've got this beautiful energy of Venus and Neptune playing out in Pisces. Pisces is your 5th house. So this is lovely. Of all the signs, Scorpio, this week is going to be a great week for you to get romantic, to enjoy some dates with either your partner or your lover, or, maybe a really dear friend or your child, but somebody that you care about. And you can go and, have a candlelit dinner, or do something, beautiful picnic, or do something really special with somebody that you love. This is the house of love, actually. House of the heart. 5th house. It's the house of children, and it's the house of creative expression. So anything creative is seen by the 5th house, actually. So that's why children, you have to undertake a very creative endeavor when you make a child. When you're dating someone, you're thinking of creative ways to show them that you love them, that you're into them, that they're special in your life. It's a creative endeavor to embark on a course of dating and courtship with somebody. And it's also creative when we use our creative intelligence to do a painting, to write a story, to do some sort of sculpture or whatever it happens to be, or performance. This is the house of creative intelligence. So use your creative intelligence, Scorpio people, to create romance in your life, to create more beauty and indulgence and dreaminess about the pleasurable things of life. You might decide you're going to do a painting and it's a hugely romantic painting, some sort of ethereal painting. Now's a great time to do that. You might decide that you want to put on a special dinner for your lover, and you've got the candles and the bedroom's all set up and the dinner's cooking and it's magnificent, and you have so much fun and you create this pleasurable experience. Use your creativity, your creative intelligence to bring more dreaminess and romanticism into your life now, and you'll be blessed. This is a time of blessing and enjoyment. So just on that, actually, it doesn't have to be with a lover. I know there are a lot of single people who watch my videos. Years ago, I was friends with a couple who every Valentine's Day, instead of going out by themselves as a couple, to a restaurant or doing something romantic, just the two of them, they would invite people around to their home and have a Valentine's Day dinner and lavish their love, attention, and affection on these other people. In my case, it was myself and my ex-husband that received this, and it was such a beautiful gesture. I was so inspired. I thought, I want to do this. I want to do this in my life, and I must admit I haven't done it for a few years now. But you might like to channel that kind of energy. Pisces, Neptune and Venus conjunction, which is so beautiful, so romantic, so loving, so charitable. You might like to give a romantic evening to some other couple, to some other person who might be on their own. It can be a very beautiful energy to create romance, and using your, like I said, creativity and creative intelligence to give love to somebody else who needs it. It's the house of love. So that's the energy for Scorpio. Scorpio rising. Now Sagittarius rising, people. Well, Cancer happens to fall as your 8th house. Currently, the moon is moving through the sign of Capricorn, and it is triggering all those eclipse points and the conjunction of Pluto and Saturn. So there's so much karmic triggering happening from the moon, and we need to look at what the moon rules. Moon rules Cancer, your 8th house. So Sagittarius people, this is where you can get a lot of emotional reactivity happening, a lot of intense, very intense feelings is in the 8th house realm. So it might be with your intimate partner that you suddenly feel this intensity, this overreaction, this feeling of frustration, because this is the house of our partnerships, but this is the house of intimacy. So anyone that you are in an intimate relationship with, you can feel this intense emotional reaction. Just know it's karma probably bubbling up in you. Maybe they do something and it triggers a feeling in you. I remember that from my childhood. God, that gave me the irrits. Or maybe it's a karmic past life thing. And they don't even know it. You don't even know it, but they do something, makes you walk on eggshells, and you're like, "Arr." And maybe it's a recollection from a past life when you had to walk on eggshells around a partner because they were cranky. And so there can be this intense karmic emotional triggering that comes from an intimate partner. Just know if that happens, stand back, observe, realize that what is playing out is actually a karmic manifestation being triggered by this, and you need to just let it go. Knowledge is power. When you know, it's coming from the moon, moving across those points, I'll release this frustration, I'll release this energy, and I won't overreact. We have to use our knowledge, use our awareness. That's what astrology can really help with. When we know things are coming up, we can be more conscious, more aware, and increase our vibration, therefore. So Cancer in the 8th house, it also has to do with intensity and overreactions regarding maybe money and receiving money. Maybe you've been going through the dispute of a will with your brother and sister or something, and there's a lot of intensity, there's a lot of emotion there. Maybe there's something to do with some big business money, and distributing the money, or some tax return, or some community property, and there's some intense feelings. I know I was often on community committees and things like that, and you'd have to deal with some real dickheads who want a certain type of tree down the street, and you know that that's not the right tree to have down the street because it's going to cause, lifting of the pavement or something like that, and you just like, face palm kind of stuff. There can be frustrations when you're dealing with community property right now. If you're on committees or if you're part of some, council administration board for the local pool or the streetscape or whatever it happens to be, know that there can be some frustrations and irritations that arise there. Just watch out for overreactions. Believe me, there are a lot of dickheads in the world. So we have to navigate with wisdom and with integrity and with knowledge that, hey, this energy could be getting triggered in us for this week. So watch out for that. But the light at the end of the tunnel in this week is this beautiful Venus conjunct Neptune in Pisces, your 4th house. So creating a beautiful energy, Sagittarius, of romance in the home is going to buoy you up, lift you, give you that sense of happiness and dreaminess and etherealness that is a blessing. So you might like to, stick some fairy lights up at home that just make your home feel a little bit more magical. You might feel, drawn to sort of put a velvet doona cover on your bed that just makes it feel more glamorous, more beautiful, more indulgent. You might even decide that you want to cook your family a special indulgent dinner on this night. This is a house of family. So you have a beautiful romantic dinner that you put on for your family. Romance and love doesn't have to just manifest between a man and a woman, as we all know. We can have love that happens between a mother and a child, or a father and a son, or it doesn't matter. But this is a chance to create a sense of love and dreaminess with your family in your home. So whatever it takes, do that, because it's a beautiful week to enjoy that, and it will lift your spirits and it will buoy you up, especially after all the intensity that we're feeling in these signs. Focus on the home, focus on the family, make it dreamy, make it romantic. Surround yourself with beauty and escape in the home. It could just be that you decide, I'm taking this afternoon to read my favorite novel, and I'm just going to lose myself and escape into this beautiful novel, and that is my beautiful indulgence. You might not even have to interact with anybody. Just creating a beautiful romantic escape in your home space is going to be very uplifting for you if you're Sagittarius rising. Now, Capricorn rising, boom, we are looking at the moon crossing through all these trigger points in your 1st house, these trigger points for karma that have unfolded over the last month, the eclipse trigger points, as well as the trigger point for the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. So there's a lot of karma bubbling up here that might need to be addressed. And this, of course, is going to bring up some intense feelings and intense overreactions and emotions that will likely correlate to what the moon rules in the chart. And the moon rules Cancer. Cancer here is your 7th house. So you can be feeling very intense emotional reactions about your partnerships. This can be a committed life partner, or it can be a business partner, or it can be your audience or your clients. Maybe your clients do something and it ticks you off. Maybe they're demanding, maybe they're rude, maybe they're lacking in compassion, and you just, you're about to lose it. When you are, remind yourself, this is the moon energy, and it's causing this triggering in me, this emotional overreaction in me. Okay, I'll step back and I'll act with love instead. Knowledge is power. When you know that this is what's being activated and triggered this week, you can actually make a wise choice about how you deal with the circumstances. There can be overreactions, as I said, with marriage partners. Now, if you're in a committed relationship, know that this might crop up, that you might feel a sense of frustration with something that your partner does or something that your partner says. Know that it's coming from this activation. They might be triggering some karmic emotion in you, some emotion you felt from childhood. Maybe you felt rejected in some way in childhood, and your partner now does something that feels like rejection to you, and it just sends you over the edge, and you get cranky and you get upset, and you can't even almost explain why. Just know there's triggering of karma going on here. It could be from a past life, even relationships in a past life that might be getting triggered. And what needs to happen is it needs to come up to the surface, and it needs to be purged. So write in a journal if that happens. Don't take it out on your husband or your wife and get verbally abusive or whatever, write about it in a journal, or ring a friend and talk it out, or do other things that are a form of therapy and purging and releasing to let go of these karmic triggers that are going to pop up now. We also have the blessing unfolding this week of Venus conjunct with Neptune. And this is happening for you guys in the 3rd house. So how lovely. This is going to mean that you can get very intellectually stimulated in a romantic way. It's a great couple of days around the 27th to read those romance books or write a romance story. You might decide to make your working environment, because this is the house of small business, and if you're a small business practitioner, you might decide to make your work environment a little bit more dreamy, a little bit more ethereal, set up some fairy lights around your desk or something, indulge in romanticism and beauty and pleasure. You might like to go out with maybe some of your fellow students. Maybe you're studying somewhere and you might like to go out for a special dinner together. You might like to create some sort of romantic experience through social media. You might hook in with a few people and watch Netflix, some romantic film or something. Pisces is film. This is in the house of media and communications, and Neptune rules film as well, and acting. And Venus is pleasure and indulgence. So go and enjoy a film. Go to the movies with a group of friends or your network or your fellow students or something. Go and enjoy a beautiful film and indulge in some romanticism and some dreaminess and some imagination that way. Anything romantic, anything imaginative, anything sort of ethereal. They're not in the movies at the moment, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy would certainly fit the fantasy bill of Pisces. So anything fanciful and fantasy-like is definitely part of it. I mean, Jumanji is a film that's been very popular in Australia over the last month with school holidays on. It's a great fantasy film, so if you want to go down that road, it certainly does fit the fantasy realm of Pisces. These are great activities that you can indulge in and enjoy in. But this is the realm, through social media, through communications, through writing, speaking, and because it's Pisces, through film and so forth, music as well. This is the realm you can get very, very dreamy and very ethereal and very romantic in, and create some magic in your life. So enjoy, Capricorn. That's a way to actually, enjoy life at the moment when there's so much intensity in your 1st house. Aquarius rising. Well, guys, for you, this energy of the moon ruling Cancer is falling in your 6th house. So what is going on here is we're having the moon crossing. I get my arm out here. The moon is crossing all these trigger points that happened in Cancer over the last month. The eclipse trigger points, the 2 of them, and of course the Pluto Saturn conjunction trigger point at 22 degrees as well. So the moon is crossing these points and activating these trigger points, and it's going to be pretty intense couple of days around the 24th, and it's going to be tying into what the moon rules, the emotional nature of the moon and its rulership, which for you is the 6th house. So it's in this realm that you can feel very intense feelings and maybe even overreactions. For you guys, this could be in dealing with an enemy. This is the house of enemies, people who are out to get us, who want to make our lives suck. And it's a hard energy to deal with, because during this time we can have very karmically based emotional reactions to these people. We can get anger, we can get intense feelings that make us feel like we're a volcano about to explode. Dealing with enemies and going into court with them, or just confronting them at work or whatever, can feel like it's just yuck, it's hell, it's revolting. So be aware that there can be some triggering of that for you now. Now, if you're an employer and you've got employees, there can be triggerings with employees that make you feel very emotionally on edge and, cause overreactions with your employees as well. That can definitely happen. Your daily routine might be a source of frustration for you, and you might have been dieting since New Year, or on a new exercise regime since New Year. You put on a dress and it's like tighter than ever, and you're like, rah! The frustration, the anger, the overreaction. I'm never going to do that exercise again, or whatever, can pop up for you guys now. I mean, this is a very lighthearted kind of analogy, but it does correlate to the 6th house. That frustration that we feel about our daily routine and our well-being can bubble up now also. So there's a few things to be aware of. Remember, guys, knowledge is power. If you are aware that there are triggers that are going to get activated and cause frustrated energy within you and cranky emotions, when it does pop up, you can step back and go, hey, I know where that's coming from. I'm just going to let that flow through me. I'm not going to take any reactive steps. I'm just going to allow that to be, allow that to flow, and I'm going to go and direct my energy to something else to buoy me up so that I don't do something I regret. Okay, so knowledge is power. Know that these are some areas where you might be getting triggered emotionally in the coming week. Also, for you guys, we have this beautiful energy that might be a source of, a release valve for you. Neptune conjunct Venus in Pisces. And this is a beautiful energy. This is such a romantic, loving, divine energy. It can bring blessing to your material realm, the realm of self-worth and self-love and external security and safety. So you might find that, you can really enjoy some sort of pleasurable experience now around the 27th of January. It might be that you get to go to a beautiful restaurant and eat the best food you've ever eaten in your life. Or you get to, maybe you're able to find a beautiful item of clothing or jewelry that you've been longing for forever. And it's just what you've always wanted. So it's these beautiful, tangible things in the physical manifested realm that we can experience almost a romanticism and a dreaminess and a pleasurable delight in. So the physical realm in terms of shopping or food and indulgence and pleasure, but also in terms of self-worth, we can discover love for ourselves now. This is the planet of love and beauty, Venus connecting with Neptune, the planet of divine love, in the second house of self-love. So you can can really tap into now a beautiful self-love, a beautiful honoring of who you are, and an uplifting, guys, of your sense of self-worth and self-value. Now, that it is possible that this might come from another person, but more likely it's going to be generated by love for the self. And it's healthier when it comes from the self. We don't need other people to affirm us. We don't need other people to lift us up. We need to find that space of self-love and delight within us. And that gives us the ability to have much more healthy relationships and beautiful dynamics in partnership. Allow yourself to imagine what it is to live a beautiful, material life, as well as to have a lot of self-love, and you will find that your thoughts have power. You can begin to manifest this beauty, this unconditional love, this divine love for self that's so needed in the world today. Once you've manifested that in yourself, you've got so much more to give to others as well. That unconditional love, there's nothing quite like it, It's very precious. So that's for Aquarius rising people. Now, finally, Pisces. Boom. Pisces rising people. Well, guys, this is falling in, I'll start with the Cancer energy. Cancer is your 5th house. Right now, we have the moon transiting across Capricorn. And as it does so, I'm going to just get that to stand still. Oh, it's not going to stand still on its own. Okay. As the moon transits all the trigger points that have been activated in the past month in Capricorn, the 2 eclipse points and the Saturn-Pluto conjunction point, we're going to get a bubbling up in us of emotional reactivity. So if we're prepared for this, then we can navigate it with more wisdom and knowledge and power. But the realm of life it's going to come from is the realm governed by the moon. And this is 5th house for Pisces rising people. You might find that your children cause a cranky reaction, an emotional reaction, an intense reaction in you in some way. Maybe they haven't stopped fighting all school holidays long and you're just at the end of your tether. Or maybe there's an energy with your lover or somebody that you're dating and it's just frustrating you. You feel like you're going to explode and that, oh my God, if they do that again, I'm going to lose my shit. This kind of very much 5th house energy that is being exacerbated, or not exacerbated. The 5th house is a beautiful house. It's a blessed house, but the moon ruling it can feel very frustrated with 5th house things at the moment. Or maybe you've endeavored to put your creative intelligence out there in the world. Maybe you've created a new project, you've launched it to the world, and it doesn't get the traction that you hoped it would, and you just end up so frustrated. Why does nobody appreciate my creative gifts and my creative intelligence that I'm trying to share to make the world a better place? And you lose it, and you overreact, and you get cranky and upset, and you have a big rant on Facebook or something. So this is where you can be feeling frustration. Fifth house energy, the energy of romanticism, the energy of connection. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Connection with lovers, connection with children, that can be just feeling exacerbated at this time, or emotionally reactive. But knowledge is power. If you know that it's coming because the moon is getting a karmic triggering and it's playing out through these relationship dynamics, if you know that, then you can take the appropriate actions, or no action if need be, and allow it to flow through you. Step back, observe. Okay, I'm feeling this way. I know it's coming from the moon. I know this is the cause. I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to say anything. I know it will pass, and then everything will be back to normal again. So I'm not going to complain about my lover always leaving the toilet seat up, or whatever it happens to be. I'm not going to complain about that, even though it sends me bonkers. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and let this energy pass, and then it'll be all over and it won't even be an issue anymore. So watch out for emotional reactivity, and you'll know how to deal with it when it pops up. Now, the good thing that's unfolding this week is this beautiful conjunction of Venus and Neptune in your own sign. How gorgeous is this? This is the energy of romanticism, of dreaminess, of unconditional love, of pleasure and indulgence playing out in your first house. So Pisces, this is one of the beautiful times of year for you where you can really enjoy romanticism, which we all love as Pisces rising people, in every facet of life. So you might find that this is a fabulous time for just experiencing romantic synchronicity in life, unconditional love from everyone you meet, feeling like you want to give charitable, compassionate love to others right now, which is a beautiful thing. So make the most of this energy and look to give compassionate, charitable love to others, or do something in your life that, for your body, for your mind, for your soul, that makes you feel in alignment. Take time out, especially Pisces rising people. We need to take time out to imagine, to daydream. I want to just encourage you guys, go to a beautiful place, a place that feels romantic to you, a place that feels beautiful to you. Go there with a partner or by yourself, it doesn't matter. But go there and just dream. Just sit by a stream with a beautiful, buy a nice piece of chocolate cake or whatever your favorite indulgence is, Venus, food, indulgence. Go there with a beautiful little picnic for yourself and just sit there and daydream and romanticize and imagine what life could be, what it could look like, what you want it to be. Indulge in this time, because our thoughts have power. And especially for Pisces rising people, our imagination has so much power for manifestation. We all of us, as I said in the intro to this video, we all of us need to allow our our imaginatory tendencies out, because there is great manifesting power in our imagination. If we were living in the golden age, then our minds would be able to, through imagining some scenario, would be able to create it. It's just that we live coming out of, as I said in my video a few weeks ago, we're coming out of this iron age, this age where we're only using 10% of our brain, our capacity, and we don't manifest with thought the way we used to in the golden age, but we're rising back up into that. So go there. Allow yourself to imagine, allow yourself to dream. It is a gift, it is a blessing that Pisces people have, and it can actually begin to manifest true beauty, true light, true love and joy in your life. So take that time to do that. You, of all signs, Pisces, are going to be blessed by this beautiful interaction on the 27th. There might be more love in your life. You might find that there's more ease and flow in your life now. You might find that good things float to you. It is unlikely that this will trigger a relationship if you are single. I've got to say that you need so much more than just this going on. There would need to be heavy-duty activations to various planets in your personal chart for this to cause a relationship to come into your life. But it's a time for just being romantic with the self. And as Pisces people, well, we all love that. You don't actually need a partner to be in a romantic place and to enjoy love and beauty and indulgence and pleasure in your own life. Generate it for yourself first and foremost. So that is the energy of this week. Thank you so much Thank you so much for joining me. It's been such a delight to wander through the stars. I'm going to close with another prayer, and I will have more for you next week. Great Spirit of love and divine wisdom, thank you that you will give us this week the power to navigate these energies if we seek it. Help us to act with integrity when we are triggered, when we feel like we need to react. Help us to act with your wisdom and with the detached wisdom that comes through observance of what is going on. Help us to enjoy the romantic opportunity that this week brings us, and to tap into more divine universal love, so that we can bring that to the earth and to our interactions with other people and our care and nurturance of ourselves as well. We thank you for all the energies that are playing out this week and how they're going to help us lift up and move more forward into our destiny. And so it is. Thanks once again, and I'll catch you next week.